You started. Hey Annie, what brings you in today?
Um, I've just been really overwhelmed just with COVID and quarantining, just being away from my friends and my family. It's just not really been easy for me. Um, just I think I've been having a lot of anxiety maybe. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, COVID, everything happening so fast. Like our world has never, our country's never been through something so widespread like this, and it's definitely made lots of people feel alone and stressed and just stuck. You know what I mean? Just stuck, not knowing when it's gonna end.
yeah, I think that's kind of how I've been feeling. Because I've never really had mental health problems. Well, or at least not that it wasn't this apparent to me,
Right,
um, being so overwhelmed with anxiety and I guess also just being isolated.
right. And I'm sorry that you're feeling that way. Definitely know though that you're not alone. There's so many people who maybe have never dealt with any type of serious mental health struggles that are definitely confused right now and are just facing a lot of those feelings that they're not used to. Because
Hmm.
the pandemic itself isn't normal. We're not used to that. So your feelings are definitely um valid, and it's okay to feel that way, you know?
Yeah, it, I guess it is relieving to hear that I'm not the
Yeah.
only one freaking out about this.
No. Mm-mm. Lots of people are just feeling very lost in the unknown, and just because I mean, everyone wearing masks and stuff, that's something we've never encountered, you know?
Yeah.
Have you ever had COVID before?
No, I haven't. I've had some family members and friends, so just because they've gotten it, I've tried to like isolate myself just to because I don't want to get sick. Because
Right.
I've seen how serious it could be for people, even if they're healthy. So that's like really scary to me because I like have good health, but you know,
Right.
it's just a lot of
And
fear.
yeah, definitely, definitely. And I'm sure it's really hard, like you said, people in your family have had COVID, and you've seen the results of other people having COVID and maybe not doing so well. So I can definitely see how there's fear
Hmm.
and not knowing, like, oh my goodness, my friend's grandma had COVID and this happened to her. What's going to happen with my family? You know, that's
Yeah.
definitely something stressful,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, because it's not even just like stress about my own health, but my mom, my dad, who aren't in the greatest health. Like, I just think about it when I lay down at night, just like, you know, if they were to get it, it's just hard to process all of my emotions, I guess.
Right. And has your family or have y'all taken any precautions? Like, is there any positive things that y'all do in order to kind of stay away from all of that, or like hand sanitizing and everything? Or like, are you able to, I guess, hang out with people in your support group in any close way that's like do you talk to people or do you Zoom or anything like that?
Um, I, in terms of like, uh, I guess isolating to, you know, be cautious for cautious for like not getting it. I got the vaccine.
Right.
Um
That's
and
good.
I try to wear my mask around if I do go out, which I really don't. But I think not having like my social support because I mean we'll FaceTime, but it just like doesn't feel the
That's
same.
yeah.
Yeah, like just being in the presence of like the people that I love. It's
Oh yeah,
we
that's
do what we
definitely
can.
difficult. Yes, yes. Um, so did you say that are you in school or anything?
Yeah, I'm in grad school right now.
Gotcha.
Um,
Gotcha.
so we've moved to online, which sucks because it's like I can barely even just like with my anxiety, like barely get out of bed in the morning.
Right.
Um, so like getting myself to do schoolwork and um like be productive is really hard from home.
Right. I definitely think kind of trying to adapt all that of what we're not used to and like school stuff and talking to people and keeping up with your regular activities can definitely seem odd whenever we can't leave the house.
Hmm.
Do you have you at all come up with any like coping strategies or anything like that you're able to still do in your house that can still kind of keep some normalcy?
Um, I think like I haven't really been doing things that I normally do. I think I've tried to like add some different things.
That's good too.
Um, like whenever I have downtime, 'cause typically I would just if I'm home and I'm not doing anything, you know, I'll have to pick up the house, all of that, which like, everything's in place
Yeah.
because nothing's being I'm just here. But and I would just watch like TV or Netflix. So instead, just because like that kind of still makes me feel like
Yeah.
just a
Because like
lump
you
in
have
the
people
wall.
around you kind of when
Yeah.
you're watching TV.
So instead, I've been doing like I've trying to I've tried to be like creative because that's something that I really enjoy. So I've tried to
Hmm.
like paint and I just recently like learned how to crochet. So I'm
That's
like trying to
cool.
yeah, I'm trying to make
That's
some
really
stuff.
cool.
Yeah.
So you're adding different activities, painting, crocheting. That's awesome.
Hmm.
Really, that's awesome. That it's a way to focus on more positive things.
Hmm. Yeah. That those things do help. I think that creative outlet.
Definitely. Um, and along with like with those things, that's really good that you're coming up with new ideas and getting creative with what you do with your time because I know I know lots of people are actually doing really creative things like rebuilding like redoing doing projects and stuff,
Hmm.
like getting creative because like they have to just do make do with what they have around the house, but
Yeah.
it's really good that you're using those coping skills and everything because I know that as you've said, you're very overwhelmed and you have the stress with not knowing if your family's going to be okay and with school. And it's just you have a lot of anxiety in different areas with having to be alone and isolated, the fear of the unknown,
Hmm.
and just not being able to go see your loved ones and like hug your loved ones in general. So I definitely understand and see where you're coming from, and it's a hard place to be. It's a really
Hmm.
hard place to be, and know that you're not alone
Hmm.
because there's so much people that I've talked to who are struggling with the same thing. And the mental health, the field of mental health right now is really being struck because this isn't, like I said, this isn't something that we're used to.
Hmm.
On the scale of 1 to 10, where would you place your mental status and state right now?
Um, Probably at like a 2 on the low end. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's definitely low on the scale. Would you mind I just want to ask you about, do you ever have suicidal thoughts or any plans or anything like that? Like where you like what where does that fit with you?
Um, well, like when I was saying that it's just like hard to get out of bed, it's
Right.
like me questioning like I don't, like why am I here?
Yeah.
Um, is this even really worth it? Like how long is this gonna go on? Um, and it's not like I have a plan and
Right. That's
could
good. That's
ever
good to know.
could ever follow through. I mean, I don't even know how I would,
I
but
mean, yeah.
but yeah, it's just like that dread and those thoughts of, questioning my purpose, um,
Right.
and how much I have left to give.
Yeah. That must be really, that must be really um stressful, and I can definitely tell how that must make you feel really just upset and sad.
Yeah.
Well, at least though, after I asked you that question, the way you explained it to me, that it's I think what you're dealing with right now, correct me if I'm wrong, is just not necessarily that you don't really have a huge desire to attempt suicide. You are just kind of you're in a puddle of just the unknown, and you've just gotten to the point where everything in your life has really overwhelmed you and you don't know what else to do anymore,
Hmm.
correct?
Yeah.
And honestly, from what you just told me, that you just don't feel like getting out of bed, you just dread getting up and doing your daily activities, that you just don't know why or why to continue. That honestly, it's a low risk, actually, which I'm happy to see that it's a low risk, because it doesn't pose a threat necessarily. And I think there are very easy ways to overcome those things, and different coping skills to add and things like that,
Hmm.
knowing that you're not that high of a risk, and you don't have any access to means, and you don't even know how you would do it, correct? Is that what you had said?
Yeah. And I could never go through with it. And yeah, I think, like you said, adding more coping skills, um,
Yes.
just to help me navigate what I'm feeling. Um, I think that would be really beneficial because I just feel like it's all weighing on me. Um,
Yeah.
and I think because I'm not able to get out and about, like, it's hard not to just constantly think about it. So
Mm,
being able to, figure out, I know what I'm feeling, but how to, deal with that
right.
is just something that I need at this moment, like at this point.
Yeah. And I really think, for one thing, it's such a good step in the positive direction, to come to therapy and talk with me, a counselor, crisis worker, because there's something within us that it going to a professional helps us to feel like it's not just a friend that's like, oh well, do this or do that. It's you're letting out that information to someone you can trust and someone who can help you. So I really commend you for taking this step, and um, putting yourself first, and really, this is a really positive thing that you decided to do. It really is. And really, even though you may have not felt like getting out of bed this morning and dreaded to face another day with COVID in the world and having to wear your mask to go to the grocery store or whatever, at least you really put your mental health first, and really allowed yourself to have that help and get all that stuff off your chest. It's really good that you did that, honestly. And it's really good that you took that next step. And so I guess to kind of recap this whole session, I know you talked about how you feel very isolated in your apartment, you're in college, you are sad that you can't be with your family. You scared that if they get COVID, what would happen? You
Hmm.
feel a sense of dread when you wake up in the morning just because you've forgotten your reason and your purpose. You don't know really why else to continue. You don't I know sometimes it's hard during COVID to not see people, and I mean you've tried to watch Netflix, to FaceTime, but it's not the same thing, which I
Mhm.
totally understand. But you've been painting and crocheting, which is really good and creative, and I can honestly that's hands-on stuff that you're being able to focus on and not just be all up in your brain and overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Um, One thing that actually I wanted to run back to that I had just thought about. You said that you're in college, correct?
Mhm.
And I want to just kind of, just because I know it's a serious situation, it's a serious thing to discuss about the suicide assessment. You told me that even though you were feeling like between a 1 and 10, you were feeling a 2, and we discussed how that's a very low number. But
Mhm.
then we kind of discussed how um, you didn't have any plans, you didn't have the means, and you just didn't have it. That would have been a really big thing for you to do, and you're kind of just waddling in just sadness and dread, and that's kind of where you place yourself with this. So I'm glad though that it's not any heavier than that. But
Mhm.
one thing that I could actually that I want to, I guess, as a besides the painting and crocheting, um is like coping skills, but also mindset. um you're in college, and you may be thinking, oh, what reasons do I have to live, like, you know what I mean, like, why am I here, what's my purpose? I mean, you're in college, there's even though right now it's hard because you're alone and you're in school, you would have thought you would have been out and about in college and just having the time of your life and studying something you're passionate about. But one thing I want you to walk away remembering is that this too shall pass. And despite everything that's worrying you right now and just everything that might be stressing you out, keep on applying your coping skills and focusing on things that you love to do.
Mhm.
um just whatever activities, any new activities you come up with, that's really good too. And just know that you have a whole life ahead of you, and you're on your way to get a degree, and there's so much potential within you. And yes, it's a difficult time and you are struggling to know, like, this might be it for me. And just be reminded that no, like, just keep on keeping on. And
Mhm.
you know, it's difficult and it's hard, but just keep thinking positive, keep um doing positive things for yourself, journal, draw, sing, dance,
Mhm.
um music is uplifting. And one other thing I wanted to point out is the suicidal hotline. It's 988. If you call that number, there's people who can help you with if you're in a moment of, oh, I can't reach my counselor or whatever, and I just need to talk to somebody. If you dial 988,
Mhm.
one of the suicidal hotlines, they'll talk to you, they'll help you with anything. It's confidential. It's confidential, and they're just there. Even if you're not feeling suicidal, they're there to talk to you. They're there to help you through whatever you're dealing with. And there are, if I'm not correct, there are hotlines that you can text message, which I'll get that information to you.
Okay.
Um, because I don't have it offhand right now, but I do know the 988 is a quick and easy resource.
Okay.
Um, Easy to remember. And any other resources that I think of, I'll send that to you via email. And besides that, is there anything else that you'd like to say? Anything you want me to clarify? Anything that I may have missed?
No, I think you definitely like covered exactly. You got you have a good idea of like how I'm feeling. And I think I'll definitely utilize the resources that you send me. Um, even if I'm not, planning on taking or um planning on following through with anything, I can still have that as a resource and something to lean on whenever I'm like really upset or if I
Yeah,
just, don't want to do it anymore. So yeah, I appreciate you giving me those resources. I think that's very
absolutely.
good.
Well, I'm so glad I was able to give you guidance and help. And I'll see you next time. Just while you're away, just keep on doing positive things and um, just I guess keep on doing positive things, coping mechanisms, and just do whatever makes you happy. Do whatever
Mhm.
makes you happy whenever things just aren't going right. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
especially during this time and age. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for all of that. I appreciate
Thank
you.
you. Absolutely.
All right. Well, I'll see you next week.
You too.